would be me, JD, your 6'3" ATM of Informacion. The pin 800-876-4123 on the program where intellectual anarchy is encouraged and nurtured for now. I just did it. I was trying, for those of you who are looking at this on the video, I do have a tendency I've been getting emails on this, guys. I have a tendency to scratch my left forearm or my right elbow when I start the show. I don't know if you want to go back and do some heavy research on that and go back through all the audio archives and you can take a look. And audio archives? No, they wouldn't be on that, would they? It'd be on the video archives and see if that's actually a phenomenon. But people say, why do you scratch your left arm when you kick off the show or your right elbow? Answer, itchy. That would probably be the answer because they're itchy. And now I'm scratching my nose because it's itchy too because the wind is kicking up here. I can't stand the wind in Las Vegas. But there you have it. So that's the kickoff to the program today. Now that we're done, thanks very much for your time. Anyway, Jesse producing, Don producing, working the dials, Mike screening the calls. Emails at the website, the poll question up there for you today. GOP presidential candidates are about to unleash a barrage of TV and radio ads. A top GOP strategist says Rick Perry ads attacking Mitt Romney are so negative, quote, your TV will bleed and beg for mercy, end quote. You say to this, 12% of you, can't we all just get along? 26% say nothing like a down and dirty campaign, and 63% say wake me in 2012 when it's over. You can answer it there at the website or here at 800-876-4123. Isn't it? Your TV will bleed and beg for mercy. That's a pretty good line. Alex Castellano said that. He was talking on CNN about the kickoff to the radio and TV part of the program where the candidates try and differentiate themselves from one another and try and either cement their lead, redefine their campaign, reinvigorate their campaign, or, in Rick Perry's case, try and breathe new life back into the beast. It's alive. Alive. Oh, did you see his campaign? He was asked about his comments about Obama's birth certificate, and he said, well, that's just a distraction. Really? Why'd you go there then? If it's just a distraction, then why did you bother to go there? But he did. I guess that's one of the ways he's going to differentiate himself with the birther comment, although now he's commenting on his comment that is merely a distraction from the real issues about the economy and jobs that are so desperately needed here in America.
What will it take to convince you that the president was born in this country? You know, and do you have any plans to release your
I'll cut you off right there. That is one of the biggest distractions that there is going. We need to be talking about jobs. If somebody wants to see my birth certificate, I'd be happy to show it to them. But the fact is that is a distraction, and Americans really don't care about that, if you want to know the truth of the matter. We want to talk about, what Americans want to talk about is jobs.
You see, now that was on Fox News. Now, you mocked me the other day when I was talking about the interview with Rick Perry in Parade magazine, one of the hard-hitting journalistic outlets of our time. And I read the birther comments about Rick Perry in Parade magazine. It got to Fox News. So you see what you're missing when you don't take the opportunity to read the inserts in the Sunday newspapers. I think I'm the only one in the neighborhood who still gets the news. I think the people who deliver the newspaper are just like, would you please cancel your subscriptions? Because I have to come all the way out here to the northwest part of the valley. And, you're not that important. I mean, it's nice that you send me a check every Christmas, and you've been doing it for 7 years, and I really thank you for that. But it's like, I look around, and I remember growing up in the city, there was always a newspaper on the steps. I mean, everybody got the newspaper, or even when my mom lived in New Jersey, they had those little newspaper box things that, they drive around and stuff them in there, and where the mail would come. Something about a newspaper. But now I think I'm coming into the modern age where I'm possibly just going to get it online. The Wall Street Journal online edition. I tend to have most of my stuff done now because I start about 4 o'clock in the morning. I tend to have most of my stuff done long before the newspaper gets there. The only thing I do with the newspapers now is on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is I go through them to make it look like I read them, and then I fold them up and I walk next door and I put them in my neighbor Bill Gates, and not my neighbor's not Bill Gates, but I put them in my neighbor Bill's Gates and then he gets to read the newspapers. So that's the only thing I do with him. So I'm thinking about canceling. But anyway, if you read Parade Magazine, Jesse, you would have found out about the birther comment long before it got to Fox News, where Rick Perry says his birther comments aren't news, so why'd you make it? So the GOP is going to go hitting the TV and the radio airwaves. Now, this ties in with some of what we've been talking about in where TV and radio has gone. And also would then tie in with where some of the viewers and the listeners on TV and radio have gone. So let me ask you this question. When you watch TV, when you listen to the radio, are you looking for entertainment? Are you looking for activism? Or are you looking for information? Or maybe it's a combination of all of the above. But I think in the case of radio, which is where we do our business and where we spend our time with you every day, and we thank you for taking the time to spend it with us. But in what we're doing on the radio, what I see happening in my industry, with the never-ending political cycle, with the never-ending campaign, with the never-ending, this election is the most important election of our time, and it's only 712 short days till the most important election in our time. I'm looking at these ad buys on TV and on radio, and a lot of what we're seeing the money go to is political ads. And it seems as goes the money, so goes the activism in the industry. Now, you can get information, you can get entertained, but where's the big growth been? What are people looking at? And I was talking with Andrew Lee, who's a former program director from 104.1 FM, The Truth in Tucson. He's in Minneapolis now. And we were having dinner, and we were talking about the business. And he said, you know, the one thing that I'm not hearing people do enough of is laugh. He said, it just seems like every time you turn on the TV or you turn on the radio or you read a newspaper or you're involved in some kind of supposedly informational exchange, that it's all dire consequences, end of the world as we know it. That if this doesn't happen, it's over. If it's only for this one election, that some saving grace is going to come along and save us from ourselves or save us from someone else or something else or something that's going to happen. Some boogeyman in the closet or some monster that's living under the bed. I look at these commercials on TV that there's some prediction. I haven't seen which one it is, but there's some prediction that everything that we know as we know it today, what we eat, where we live, where we invest, how we live, all of it is going to go away. And I'm thinking about with these political ads, do you go ugly early? Does that sell? Because apparently it does. Because there seems to be, you know, the gloom and doom and boom report. A lot of people go after that. There seems to be that if it bleeds, it leads mentality has always seemed to manage to keep a lot of things above the fold in the newspapers that are rarely getting delivered to driveways anymore. But the go ugly early, is it that it's too negative or that it's too soon, or is it too much activism? The phone number is 800-876-4123. They're saying that the GOP is going to unleash a TV ad war, that it's going to start in Iowa, it's going to go to New Hampshire, it's going to go to other early voting states. There's a $2 million ad blitz in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina by Rick Perry. They're saying the complexities of the campaigns now are causing candidates to really turn up the heat with regard to advertising in especially small and inexpensive markets such as Iowa, and that when you take a look at what's up for grabs and who they're trying to get to pay attention, this is a big business. Whether it's the $17 million that Romney has, or it's the $15 million that Perry has, or it's the $7 million that Paul has, or it's the however much money whoever has, it seems that we've got a combination of money, message, activism, and outlets that have really built their business model on being activist rather than, and I don't diminish it by saying entertainers, but there has to be a certain entertainment value to getting the news. There has to be a certain connection that you have where you go, I had a good time. I learned something. I was informed. But what we try and do on the show, which is hopefully different in the way that we roll it out, is not to get you to say, that is what I believe. That is the way it must be. But to think about things that are happening, to look at the way things are being presented to you, and to figure out where you fit in and how you interpret that information for yourself. Because it's not one size fits all. It's not one message is the message. It's not one party that's the party that you have to attend and dismiss all others because you've been told that that party stinks. Well, you're not going to know if that party stinks unless you go. Now, maybe if you go to the same party 3, 4, 5 times, or you go to the same neighbor's house 3 or 4 or 5 times, and you have a really lousy time, you're going to go, I don't need to do that again. But we have people that aren't even bothering to going across the street to a neighbor's house, or go to an event, or go to a party, or read something, or entertain a possibility that there might be something other than what you already think you believe is your core to begin with, without having an ability to go out and take a look and like a sample, like a poo-poo platter. It's kind of like, just like appetizers of information, where you get to sample a little, as opposed to being stuck with just one meal, and hopefully you're going to like what you get served up.
The Jerry Doyle Show.
So the question really is, with regard to this never-ending political campaign, is it really about activism? Is it about a business model? Is it just about, wow, we figured out a way that we can bring advertising dollars to TV and to radio by being activists for either political party? And whose best interest does that serve? Where you're just basically saying, I've been at this party, I know what's going to happen at this party, but at least it's familiar. It's like an old pair of pajamas or a bathrobe. I really could probably go out and get a new one, but what the hell? I've been wearing this one so long, it seems to be well-worn and comfortable. And are we too comfortable with the information that we take in without thinking about what we're taking in and how it is affecting how we go about voting, living our lives, and hopefully leaving the campground a little bit nicer than the way we found it? 800-876-4123 is the number. Phil Kerpen is going to join us. His latest about the Congress optional president. And Professor Jeffrey Sachs is going to join us about his new book called The Price of Civilization, Reawakening America's Virtue and Prosperity. Plus your calls. Jerry Doyle. Stick with
The Jerry Doyle Show.